Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna be breaking down how I went from startup to over $1 million in revenue within 6 months with my first company, MIT Group, which is a residential and commercial solar company. And you wanna make sure to stay to the very end of the video, because if you leave halfway through, you will not get the information needed for you to scale this for your business. So I'm gonna be breaking down details, numbers, and everything that you need to know to implement this into your business. All right, so let's start. So how to scale to $1 million per month. The first key to scaling any business is removing the emotions out of it. Knowing your numbers is essential to scaling any business. Okay, so here are the key metrics for my business, and at any moment, it might make sense to pause this and actually figure out what are the key metrics to your business. So for this business, the average deal price is $36,500. So every time there's a transaction, the average ticket is $36,500. Next is, what is the customer acquisition cost, or CAC? The CAC on average ranges anywhere between $750 to $1,250. On average, we average right around $1,012 customer acquisition cost, which means every time we spend $1,012 in marketing, we get back a $36,000 deal. Okay, now next, what is our keep rate? And it's easy. It'd be easy for me to say, hey guys, every deal we close, no one cancels, but that's not real life. No matter how good your business is, there is going to be a specific keep rate, which means if you sign up 100 customers, how many are gonna actually turn into full paying customers and not cancellations? For us, the average is right around 72. I like to get our team to 80 to 85, but just when you factor in every month, high months, low months, slow months, you name it, we're right at 72%. Okay, next, we know our revenue is 36.5, but Grant, what do y'all make on it, right? Our gross profit before we pay commissions, before we pay overhead, is right around $10,000. The rest is going to installation costs, finance fees, everything in between to complete the entire project, okay? So let's recap. Average deal 36.5, our CAC is a little bit over 1,000. We're gonna keep 72% of our deals, and our gross profit is gonna be about $10,000 per deal. All right, now let's look at our targets. Remember, I started from scratch, and I'm gonna break down how I did this at the end of the video. So you wanna make sure to stay, because I'm gonna show you how to do this potentially with little to no money, all right? Depends on the industry. So here's our targets. If I'm sitting at $0 and I wanna get to $1 million, a lot of times we just work really hard. We call more people, we hire a bunch of random people, but we end up with these random results. You got to know your targets so you can reverse engineer the exact steps needed in the operation that you got to build to be able to get to that number, okay? So we want to get to $1 million in sales. Here are our key metrics. Here is our targets. If we do the math, we do 40 deals, that will equate to $1,563,660 in revenue collected, all right? But we don't keep every deal because there's cancellations. I wish there wasn't, but unfortunately there is. So if we retain a 72% keep rate, if we do 40 deals, we keep 72%, that means we will net $1,058,500 in monthly revenue for this specific month, okay? So we know our metrics, we know our targets, we gotta sell 40 gross deals at a 72% keep rate, so we can do $1,058,000 in revenue. Okay, so let's talk about how to actually do that now. So numbers to achieve it. So we already figured out our key metrics, then we figured out our target. Now we gotta peel it back, basically another layer to break down how we're gonna build out this operation, one, financially and structurally and advertising wise, but also we don't have AI all working for us yet. We still gotta manage people, which is a whole nother video, but structurally we need to know what we're going to do, where we're gonna place these people, and what metrics they need to hit for them to be successful, but also to hit the overall business targets. Okay, let's talk about on the sales side, all right? For your sales, for us, the average rep within my company over the last few years has been able to withstand about 28 appointments per month. Okay, a closing appointment is usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's a high ticket item, right? But even short ones are still going 30 to 45 minutes. And my reps internally were, for the most part, setting appointments. At the beginning, now it's a little bit of a hybrid depending on how well they're doing, what level they're at, all that good stuff. So I have some reps that can do 40 appointments a month. I have some that can only do 21. We found the sweet spot is right around 28 appointments. Okay, next, if they set 100 appointments, how many are gonna actually show up? It's a huge metric. And this is one thing that really helped our CAC to LTV ratio, which I'm gonna be talking about here in a second, but helped our profitability and our scalability within that first 2 to 3 years because I was bootstrapping. So the industry standard that for my industry then, and even if you look at pretty much any industry, is typically gonna be right around 25 to 38% for a show rate, meaning you set 10 appointments, about 3 to 3.5 people are going to show up. So simple math, if you have a 25% closing percentage and you go instead of a 25 or 30% pitch percentage, you get a 50% pitch rate, you're almost doubling the amount of deals that you're closing just by getting more people to show up. So show rate is everything. One thing that we've mastered, and I'm gonna talk about this at some point and make another similar video on how to set quality appointments. We took the industry standard 25 to 30% pitch and average, including everyone, a 51% pitch percentage. Absolutely ridiculous. So good that I bet you some of you guys are like, oh, they didn't do that. Trust me, we did. So if our average rep has 28 appointments a month, we average a 51% pitch percentage. That means we're gonna pitch on average per rep 14.3 appointments per month. Right now, our reps close at an average of 25%. Which means we have some reps that close 50%. We've had reps have months where they close in 16, 70%. But average is about 25%. Okay, so that equates, when it's all said and done, to an average of 3.57 gross before any cancellation deals per sales rep. Okay, because remember, what's our target? If I want to get us to $1 million a month in sales within the 6-month frame that we did, I'm like, oh, okay, we need to close 40 gross deals. We're going to keep 72%, which would be 29. That means, what is the capacity of a sales rep? Now, this is a big mistake that I notice in people and business owners is they have this big target, right? So it would be like me, so knowing that we got to get 40 deals, knowing we're going to have a 72% keep rate, and I'm like, okay. And then knowing my metrics for ad spend, which I'll go in a second, but then only having 5 or 6 reps. So if you have 5 reps, let's actually put this down here. Hey guys, if you're an entrepreneur, business person, or you just want to grow as an individual, I just started a private business community that has over 200 different entrepreneurs from a multitude of different industries. We have weekly live calls with Q&As. We have over 20 different master classes that break down sales, marketing, finance, operations, branding, social media, you name it, as well as guest speakers and the ability to network and grow your career. If you want to have a massive year, this is every single little thing that I've learned over building an 8-figure business, building a massive following on social media, and working with entrepreneurs all over the world. If you guys would like to join, I want to give it to you for free for 7 days just for listening to this podcast. Click the link below and get set up. Look forward to seeing you guys there. So if we only had 5 reps, that means if we only had 5 reps, we would only close 17.85 deals. So 17 or 18 deals, or I would have a bunch of exhausted reps that can't handle it anymore, and our numbers would drop. We'd have people quit, which you're gonna have regardless, and it would be almost impossible to hit that 40 metric. So I had to go, how many sales reps would this take for us to actually get to the mark that we want, right? So I had to do the math. And that's when we came up to a little bit more than 11, so you make sure you're at that 12 mark. So if you got 12 reps hitting around 28 appointments, we have at least 314 appointments in a month to hit that 40 mark. Okay, now keep in mind, this is kind of, some of this is based off of averages on the amount of sales reps, because you're gonna have some reps that start halfway through that month and they only run 10 or 12 appointments and they only close a deal. You're gonna have some that do 45 and close 10 deals in a month. So that's where, this is an average, this is an average, 51 is an average, it could go up or down. But the key is you have to have the infrastructure built to support, even if you're spending the right amount on your ads, your CAC to LTV, it's great. You have a great product. If the infrastructure is not set up in the right way, you will lose and your people will be drained and miserable and you won't be able to hit your target, right? So let's recap this, right? To hit $1,058,000 net in sales, we need 12 sales reps. They're gonna average 3.57 deals. And I need to make sure I'm able to purchase enough leads that we can set 314 appointments in a month at a 51% pitch to do 40 deals and net 28. Okay, if I'm going fast, pause it and go through this again, all right? This is how quickly you gotta know your numbers as a business owner. And I'll sit down and talk. I have a community of almost 300 business owners, and I work with about 20-ish business owners one-on-one right now. And one of the first things that I talk to them about is like, okay, tell me your numbers. And one of the biggest mistakes I see in business owners is they don't know them. They know generalities, they know roundabout numbers. They don't have data in real time. And that's one of the first things I'll do, even on an accounting perspective, or just on a data perspective for sales and CAC to LTV, show percentages, conversions, closing percentage, things like that. By just knowing those numbers, they'll double their business. They'll increase sales 30% because nobody knows your business more than you, the person listening to this right now. So if you know your numbers better, it now becomes solving a math problem and putting the puzzle pieces in the right place to create a formula that hits a desired outcome, okay? So let's go to our lead spin, all right? What's my target? 40 deals, all right? Our average deal price, $36.5. We know our CAC, which I'm gonna go over here in a second. We know our keep rate, right? And we know we're gonna keep 72%. That's how we hit our mark. So let's go right here. Where do we need to spend lead-wise? Takes money to make money in a lot of cases, or you gotta knock on a hell of a lot of doors, which you can do also. All right, so let's look at this. Customer acquisition is $1,012, all right? Our CAC to LTV, okay? That's a fancy way of saying customer acquisition, how much you need to pay to acquire one customer. LTV means lifetime value. Once you acquire that customer, how much are they gonna pay you? How much money are you gonna make when you get the damn customer? Okay, for some businesses, like this one, which is why I'm not obsessed with this business. It's great, it's beautiful, you got all these big fancy numbers, but it's not reoccurring. That's another conversation. But you get all the money basically once it's fully complete, installed and everything. And that ends up equating to when I spend $1 in ads, I get $9.88 back. It's a good ratio. So I spend $1, I get almost $10 back for what I spent in ads. Now, for this in general, and all of you guys need to either, I would probably finish watching the video, come back, watch it a couple different times, and figure out the numbers for your business. But you do not, under any circumstances, want to be under a 1-to-3 ratio. 1-to-5, I would say, is a good, solid, healthy point. If you're at 1-to-10, 1-to-25, and 1-to-50. So when I do the math based on the CAC to LTV and based on the numbers I need to hit to get to that 1,058,000 number, okay, so I have to spend $40,480 with 12 sales reps, 314 appointments, a 51% show rate, and a 25% close rate. So we net at least 28 deals or 29 per month to clear that $1 million target. Okay, so you see how I did this, guys. This is where, and this is one of the biggest things when scaling a company, is you have to first know your numbers and then reverse engineer backwards. Okay, so here's how to do this if you don't have a lot of money. So it's okay to use lines of credit or low interest credit cards if it's to scale. Not to build, to scale. So if you're starting a company from scratch, do not use debt unless it's tied to an asset. Okay, so every major company, Apple, Tesla, Google, they have massive multi-billion-dollar lines of credit. So remember, since I knew the CAC to LTV, because I had the sales process and system set up, remember, I had to spend, let's say, $40,000 a month. So did I have the cash to do that? I did. But even if I didn't, and even regardless, all I had to do is go to a Bank of America, a Chase, or whatever the case may be, and say, hey, look, this is my current revenue. These are financial numbers. This is our CAC to LTV. I need XYZ line of credit. So I walked into JP Morgan, put on a fresh suit, was smooth, nice. All of a sudden, they're like, sir, let me get my VP. Sir, let me get this. And they start coming over. They're nice. They're asking me things. They're complimenting me. I like your jacket, blah, 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 blah. Because they make money when they lend money. And so they looked at all of our financials and they said, okay, we could probably give you guys about 200 grand in a line of credit. And because that was the case, I was able to get that $200,000 at a lower interest rate, right around a 6 or 7% interest rate. But as long as I cover whatever I use, I don't pay any interest. And so what I would do is I would spend $40,000, and as long as I paid that off within 30 days, I pay $0 in interest, okay? That's the secret. But I'm using this to scale an already proven business model. Not like, I want to start a clothing brand. I hope people are going to like it. No. This was something that I was already doing within that first 2 months. And I was using my own money. And then I'm like, okay, I know my CAC to LTV. I know the sales process, scripts, everything, installation process, everything. So then I went out, used other people's money to hyperscale the business so I don't have to use my own cash and I can scale without spending money on interest. So that's how you do it with little to no money. For you to scale your business, like we talked about, number one, know your numbers. Know your damn numbers. Stop operating on your gut. Stop operating off of how hard you work. Stop operating on how much this could mean to your family and it would be. Eliminate it. Know your damn numbers. Okay, 2, know your target, right? Stop operating off of guessing and hoping. Remember, what do? I knew my target of what I wanted to hit, and then I knew my key metrics. What is the average deal price? What is the CAC? What is the LTV? What are the basic fundamental numbers that you need to know to build the infrastructure of your business? Okay, so you know your numbers, you know your target, so you know where you want to be. And then 3, build your infrastructure, all right? Once this is built, notice that for that was the sales side, right? So once I've built the sales team and the amount of appointments and the amount of leads and the right training and the right processes every single day, that aligns with the numbers and the financials necessary to hitting this $1 million number. Okay, so know your numbers, know your target, build your infrastructure. And then 4, which is simple, recap and pivot, all right? Because remember, once we know our targets, remember on this other side, right? This 51% is not always 51%. That's our average. So that means we have months where it's 47. We have months when it's 55. We have months, for example, in summer for this specific business, where our average reps are around 35, 36 appointments a month. And they're cooking, but that is high season. Winter months, this may be 24, 23 because leads are lower. So that's where it's like knowing your numbers and pivoting and looking at it and adjusting the structure of every moving piece of your business is essential because everything is changing. Every single thing is changing. So guys, if you've loved this video, what I want you to do right now, I'm gonna be doing a series on this. I'm gonna be doing not only my own businesses, but I'm gonna be breaking down other people's businesses that either I like those industries or people that I've worked through, one-on-one directly and do actual case studies on how we scaled their companies so I can help you do the same. I wanna give out as much value as possible. If you guys love this video and love this channel, please make sure to like, subscribe, and put on the notifications so you get notified anytime we post a video. Also, for anybody that's watching this video, like I said, I started a private business community and we're doing live weekly trainings. I want to give it to you, the next training completely for free and 7 days for free. There's going to be a link below to join. Other than that, hope to see you guys soon. And thanks so much. Keep crushing it and keep scaling your business. Bye, guys.